Welcome back to Talking Business as usual. Today, we're digging into the AI gold rush. But forget about the code and the algorithms for a minute. We're going to talk about the real-world picks and shovels of this revolution: power, concrete, and copper.
Just let that quote sink in for a second. This isn't just some casual observation from Nigel Coe. No, this is a signal of a massive, seismic shock to the system. We are seeing a demand pull on the industrial sector that is completely unprecedented, and it's pretty much all being driven by the insane appetite of artificial intelligence.
So you gotta ask, right? Is this just another tech hype cycle? Another flash in the pan? Or are we actually seeing the hard data proof of a deep structural shift in our economy? Well, let me tell you, the order books, they don't lie. And this chart really puts it all into perspective. Look at this. On one side, you've got your traditional industrial backlog, which is measured in quarters. But then you look at the new AI-related backlog, and we're talking about years. Years! We are talking about a guaranteed demand pipeline stretching out for half a decade. This isn't just some fleeting trend. This is a whole new industrial revolution taking shape right before our eyes. Okay, so that brings us to the real heart of the issue. The race to scale AI, it's not being held back by software anymore. It's not even really about a shortage of GPUs. The real bottleneck, the big one, is physical. The digital world has finally, officially, slammed into the hard limits of the real world. So here's the absolute key. You have to understand that an AI data center is a completely different animal. We are not talking about a little bump in energy needs. It is an exponential leap. We're talking 10 to 50 times more power per square foot. And it needs that power all the time, 24/7, without a single interruption. This is the challenge that's driving everything else we're about to talk about. And, this quote just brilliantly sums up the problem. Investor Steve Eisman absolutely nails it here. Sure, you can build the massive shells for these data centers, that's one thing, but finding a place to actually plug them in, well, that is a whole different crisis. This timeline shows you the huge disconnect. You can throw up the physical building for a data center in a year or two, no problem, but building the power plants and the transmission lines to get electricity to it, that's 5 years minimum, and usually a lot more. And then, just trying to secure a spot in the line to connect to the grid, that timeline is becoming, well, dangerously uncertain. The power is what everyone in the industry calls the long pole in the tent. It's the one thing holding everything else. So why is the grid so backed up? Well, one of the wildest reasons is this phenomenon they call ghost data centers. Think about this. These are basically fake, speculative projects. Developers get in the queue for a grid connection without owning any land, without having financing, sometimes without even a real plan. And in the process, they create this massive, frustrating traffic jam for the serious, well-funded projects that are actually ready to go. But here's the thing. The smartest players in this game, they're not just sitting in that traffic. No way. They are writing a completely new playbook for how to get power. They're basically creating their own private express lanes to just blow past all that gridlock. The first strategy is pretty simple. You go where the power is. So instead of fighting for scraps in really crowded markets like Northern Virginia, developers are flocking to these new hubs, places like Texas, Ohio, and all across the Midwest. Places with more available grid capacity. This whole migration is literally redrawing the tech map of the US. And the second strategy, this one is even more radical. It's to just forget the public grid entirely. The most sophisticated companies are essentially building their own private highway. They're putting data centers right next to power plants, or even building their own power generation from scratch, completely sidestepping that public queue. So this whole new reality has created a new class of industrial titans. I mean, these are the companies that have cracked the code on the power problem. And because they've solved that, they have become some of the most critical, most important players in the entire AI ecosystem. Just take a look at Brookfield. Their strategy is a masterclass in what we call vertical integration. They already own tons of renewable energy assets, so they can walk up to the hyperscalers, the giants like Microsoft and Amazon, and offer a complete one-stop shop turnkey solution. They take the grid connection risk completely off the table for them. And the numbers we're talking about here, they are just staggering. Brookfield signed a deal to deliver 10.5 gigawatts of power to Microsoft. Now, to put that into perspective, that one single deal is 8 times, let me say that again, 8 times larger than any corporate power deal that had ever been signed before. It's just a whole different scale. Then you have a more specialized player, a company like IREN. Now, they're also vertically integrated, but they are laser focused on one thing: building these next generation data centers that are specifically designed for the crazy power and cooling needs of high density AI. They own and operate their own stuff for maximum efficiency, and they're powering this new generation of what people are calling neoclouds from their sites in those new emerging AI hubs.
So let's just put these two titans side by side. Think of Brookfield as the global giant, right? They're using their massive energy portfolio to serve the biggest of the big tech companies. IREN, on the other hand, is more like the special forces operator. They're the specialized North American expert, focused purely on high-performance, purpose-built infrastructure for a whole range of AI clients. Okay, so when you boil it all down, the investment idea here is pretty simple. Any company that can deliver secured, ready-to-use power is holding one of the most valuable keys to the entire AI kingdom. But of course, that opportunity doesn't come without some pretty significant obstacles and risks.
First, you've got execution risk. I mean, these are gigantic projects. Can they actually get them built on time and on budget? Second, you have to wonder if this AI demand is going to last forever, or could it be cyclical? What happens if the hardware boom cools off? Third, the regulatory world is always changing, and that can slow things down. And finally, this is not a secret. The competition is absolutely fierce, with a ton of money chasing these exact same opportunities.
And of course, as always, just a quick reminder that this is for informational purposes only. It is not financial advice. You have to do your own due diligence. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? We are watching the next industrial revolution unfold in real time, and it's being built not just with lines of code, but with real, tangible, physical stuff. The entire future of AI rests on a foundation of concrete, copper, and most importantly of all, secured power. Which really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If that first big wave of AI was all about code, is this next, even bigger wave going to be all about concrete and copper? It's a question that's going to shape the next decade of technology